Chapter 7 of Ender's Game, Study Guide Questions and Answers. Where has Ender been transferred? To the Salamander army. They pulled him out of the Launchies and put him into a regular army. What does Eli whisper to Ender? He whispers Shalom, which at this point Ender doesn't understand what that means. But he thinks it has something possibly to do with religion, which is outlawed, and something such as that. What did the children of the playground game turn into? This goes back to that game with the giant. He is now in fairyland, and he goes through the same kind of motions. He sees a playground, children are playing, they're shoving him for turns, and then they all turn against him, more or less, and they turn into wolves. What does it mean that Ender can't palm his locker open at Salamander? It means that everything will be out in the open. There's no privacy. Before he could put his hand, what he said, palming his locker, he put his hand up on his locker to unlock it. And now, as a Launchie, he could do that. And now, as in a regular army, he can't. Everything is open. Everything is out there. Who volunteers to show Ender how to shoot? Petra does, and they have some good lessons together. Why does Ender think that adults at the school are the enemy? They lie to him, and he's beginning to understand how manipulative they are with the situation. Why does Ender get the Launchies to practice with him? He knows them. He trusts them. These are the people that he's bonded with, Shen and Ally, and Bonzo, who's the leader of or Bonzo, who's the leader of the Salamander army, won't let him practice with the other people, so he's not getting any training, which he knows he needs. So, what are the 4 things Ender learns about battles? What are 4 things he learns about battles from the Salamander army? He can't. Bonzo is refused to let him shoot his gun in the battle, and he makes him come into the battle 4 minutes late. So he's already in the battle room, and it's late. And then on top of that, he can't shoot. So he's just observing things. He sees that how Bonzo uses formations, a traditional formation of people. He groups them into 10 soldiers of the peace to 4 different tunes, or platoons is kind of where he got that idea from. He also sees that the gate is what he calls down. They're in this sort of zero gravity space, so they're bouncing around and trying to figure out how to orient themselves and figure out where things are. And Ender kind of orients himself by saying to himself, the gate is down, even though there really is no down, because it's almost like a void of space, but or not a void, but a meaningless space. But to orient himself, if he can see the gate as being down, as almost like the floor, then he can sort of understand the space in the room. He also figures out that if he pulls his legs up for defense, he can sort of have them shoot his legs, freeze his legs, and use that as a defensive measure. It makes him damaged according to the statistics, but he's not out completely. He's not completely out of the battle, because he can still use his gun. What are the things that Ender, or where are the things that Ender values? They're on Earth. He talks about his family, and that being the reason that he's fighting for Valentine, and getting back to her, and saving her, making sure the buggers don't eat her up. For what courses Ender register? He registers for the Earth Gravity Personal Combat course, and basically fighting outside the battle room. At the end of Chapter 7, he goes on to, he goes against Bonzo's order, and he shoots in the battle room and saves them. They win the battle because of it, and Bonzo's very upset at this because he's disobeyed a direct order, and so he punches him. He slaps him in the face, punches him in the stomach. I mean, he's really ugly, and Ender thinks to himself, that's not going to happen again, and he if he was in the space in the battle room without the gravity, he could have been able to fight that. But being in real Earth gravity, then he doesn't know how to handle himself. So he registers for the personal combat course to make sure that doesn't happen again. Why doesn't Dink correct his Toon members when they say they don't like Ender's method of attack? At this point, Ender has been transferred to the Rat Army. Bonzo says it's because he wants to get rid of him, but in truth, Dink has and Rose the Nose have requested him to be put into their army because they understand he's good. He's at the top of the stats. He's doing well, and they want him. Dink doesn't correct his other people that have been in the army longer when they say they don't like him, what the way he's doing, because the move itself is a good defensive move, and Dink, as a good leader, realizes that it has value, and he makes the others practice it for a while to try to shoot somebody with their legs towards you. See, is that easier than somebody who's full face on? What do you think? So he shows Ender some respect there. Who watches Ender's first night practices after he joins the rats? Petra and Dink come in and see how he reacts with the other launchies. What is the first battle order Rose gives to Ender? He tells him to jump out first into battle. He finds out that Bonzo's order, or Ender tells him that he disobeyed the order from Bonzo. And he says, oh, okay, well, you think you like to disobey orders? You think you're big and bad and you do what you want? Okay, well, go right on out first. So as soon as the battle starts, he pushes him out first, which they say is basically suicide. But Ender uses it to his advantage. He goes and you can see Ender and how he, as a character, he's adapting to any situation he's thrown into, and he goes straight on out. He goes and wins the battle because the other army is not prepared for a front attack, and he says that after that, all the battles are different because they're now prepared for being caught right at the beginning, whereas before they were sitting in the back in the gate trying to figure out their strategy, things like that, before coming out into the battle room. And now that's not an option anymore. Who does Dink say is the enemy? He says the IF is the enemy, the government, the people in charge. They're doing us wrong. The teachers, everyone that is controlling the situation, that they're doing wrong. He kind of introduces this conspiracy theory about how the second invasion of the Bugger army was not really happening, that it didn't happen, it was staged, or he asked Ender to look at the footage of the tapes that the Buggers are already dead and hanging out, and there's only footage of the soldiers finding the bodies, and it's all a conspiracy set up by the government, and not to trust him. Here are some drawings and photos that I found online of sort of what the battle room might look like. You can see here you have a gate, the gate down. The dragon gate is have its picture here. Here's a Lego picture, the gate being down here, and the other gate up here. Sort of this room with, this might be a star here that they use for defense, these boxes that hang from the ceiling, and how the dudes are just hanging out with no gravity. Here's another drawing of them coming out into sort of a space-looking area with the gate in the background. And another one from the graphic novel, I believe that's where this one is from, coming out and seeing how do you orient yourself in a space where there's no gravity, you're sort of bouncing around on the walls, you have this little space you came out into, but not much else. Things hanging from these what they call stars hanging down, boxes hanging down, but other than that, what is there? A whole bunch of nothing. So